Happy International Women's Day. It is our day, ladies, and today Global Impact Show wanted to send a big shout out to all the women in the world who are right now representing us, and the women particularly who are struggling, who are in war zones, fighting for their rights, their freedom, or even their lives. And you know who you are. We are not going to mention any names because we don't want to leave out any other countries. Everybody matters. Everybody deserves to have a right for freedom, a right to express themselves, a right to exist peacefully. And so anyhow, let's make it light right now. We want to also celebrate all the women on Global Impact, all the guests we had who came with their expertise and just made the show a lot more special.
Hi everyone, so my name is Preeti and I'm the assistant producer at Global Impact Show. So you probably heard my name a few times, but you haven't seen my face, so here I am. So this year's theme is actually break the bias. Now what that means to me personally is being unapologetically myself, but also knowing I can achieve what I want to achieve. And I'm really inspired by all the female figures we've had on Global Impact Show. And we hope you enjoy this next highlight, which actually recognises and celebrates all of these talented, incredible, amazing and beautiful women on Global Impact Show.
Wonderful, and you bring up a lot of really good points about, number one, like the females feeling in some way either less than or incomplete and needing a romantic partner or, quote, like you said, prince to save them. So what do we need saving from? We don't need saving from anything, not from ourselves, not from anything, right? And I love now seeing more and more movies and children's books where the female protagonist is a role model and she's saving the village and saving everybody. So it can go both ways. The other issue is that we're looking for romantic love to fulfill a need that used to be fulfilled by an entire community. And this idea of whether it be a romantic partner or even our jobs, we're looking for transcendence. And the problem is that that was never the role of what marriage was. If you look at, hundreds of years ago, it was, a sort of partnership, work, labor, and agreement.
Well, part of Anthony Feinstein's study was that the level of, amongst the war correspondents who did have post-traumatic stress disorder, I didn't, I was one of the few who didn't, was the highest level of alcoholism, drug use, promiscuity, divorce. Very, very, very difficult for people to keep a stable life. And at one point, and the thing, people always ask me, would you advise this, especially for young women? And I say, absolutely. We need to pass the baton to the next generation. We need to train human rights activists and people who could document atrocities. But for women, if you want to have a child, not everyone does. And I would in no way judge anyone. I think it's a terrible thing society kind of puts on women, that you have to be a mother and you have to be a wife, because it's not for everyone.
The TV news industry it's flipped and now it's becoming dominated by women. It's fascinating. Okay. Tons of female executives and a lot of the newsroom staff are more female than male now.
Okay.
That just from my experience in quite a few newsrooms from college up through now. One of my internships in college, KABC in Los Angeles, the news director there was female.
Okay.
And I was so excited for that chance to sit one-on-one with the news director when I was a little intern. And I said, how can I get to this level? How can I grow in this industry? And she said, the number one thing is looks. You have to look good as a TV journalist. We're not doing newspaper or radio, but it is audio too. So the number two thing you have to have is a pleasant voice. So she told me to really focus on looking good, sounding good. And she said, number three is your writing. You need to be able to write compelling stories, the stories you're telling.
I think there's some beautiful fairy tales, and it's nice to have that, you know, kind of romantic heart and to believe in a fairy tale, because like I said, I have made them happen and I've seen them. So I'm a big believer in fairy tales. Well, I think supporting the growth and empowering young women raises the quality of life for everyone. So the reason I started Ask See Me is because what I noticed, not just with my daughter, but just in general, that social media is just so misleading to teens and young adults. And they're just so impressionable, and even adults. And they just become so full of self-doubt, and a lot of them even suicidal, because they compare themselves to these altered fake images on social media. And a lot of the plastic surgeons in Beverly Hills are all too eager to jump on the bandwagon and, you know, do surgery on these young kids that aren't even fully developed. So Ask See Me offers sort of a safe haven in the world, much like a mother figure or a sister that they can come to for advice and support without being judged. So that's what Ask See Me is.
The pandemic hasn't left any of us untouched. And if it wasn't because we lost somebody who was loved, we may have lost our jobs. We may have lost our homes. You know, we may have lost our friends, and for healthcare workers in particular, on the front line everywhere in the world, this will be trauma that we carry for a really long time, and it's trauma that we share across our profession. You know, for that may impact whether or not they show up. You know, the healthcare workers around the world show up for the next pandemic. So yes, we definitely need to invest on that. And so I am a big fan of Joya, Dr. Mukherjee, because she reminds me the North Star to moral compass of how we get out of these problems.